The day we got divorced, I suddenly developed the ability to read minds. I heard my wife, who had always been cold towards me, secretly sobbing her heart out internally. What am I going to do? My husband doesn't want me anymore, but I don't want a divorce. I was confused, but when I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in my sophomore year of college. She still coldly rejected my confession, yet inside her mind, she was cheering. I love seeing him look crushed like this. It's actually kind of cute. Furious, I ripped the love letter I'd written her into pieces and threw it into the trash can. Now, it was Olivia's turn to panic. Let's get a divorce. Across the dining table, I said the words calmly to Olivia, but inside, every breath felt like a dull ache in my chest. She didn't even lift her eyes. Just eat. Don't make a scene. I gave a self-deprecating laugh. Maybe to Olivia, even speaking to her was just noise. It wasn't until I placed the divorce papers I'd already drawn up in front of her that she finally froze. If there are no issues, just sign them. She stared intently at the words on the cover, her fingers trembling where she gripped them. She must be ecstatic, I thought. After all, for 9 years, 4 in college, 5 married, I'd clung to her, chased her like gum on her shoe. If I hadn't been so persistent, she never would have agreed to marry me. Olivia's annoyance with me was bone deep, and these 5 years had taught me the bitter truth. You can't force happiness. I'd also accepted reality. Olivia didn't love me. No matter how hard I tried, she never would. So, I figured it was time to wake up from this self-deceiving dream. Olivia's lips parted slightly, just as I expected her to say, fine. A wail suddenly echoed in my ears. Oh, hubby doesn't want me anymore. What do I do? What do I do? Need advice, SAP. Urgent. Did I do something to upset him recently? Doesn't seem like it. Then why is this happening? Boo-hoo-ho. I blinked. My eyes flew wide open in shock. That voice. It was Olivia's. But she was always so cold to me. Even when I practically begged her, she'd never call me something so intimate. After we got married, anytime I tried to initiate anything, she'd just slap me, call me shameless, and tell me not to touch her. How could she possibly care about my feelings like this? Auditory hallucination. It had to be. But the next second, the voice exploded in my head again. Maybe I should pretend to choke on my food, so my dear hubby has to take me to the hospital. That could buy some time. But what happens after we get to the hospital? Boo-hoo. Or maybe I should break my leg. A fracture takes months to heal by time, day by day. Now, I was completely floored because I was certain Olivia hadn't actually spoken. I was hearing her thoughts, her inner voice. It was like she was a completely different person. Hesitantly, I started to speak, but suddenly everything went black. If that's a love letter, forget it. I won't accept it. The girl's voice was sweet but held no warmth. I opened my eyes and saw the familiar campus grounds. Shockingly, I was back in my sophomore year of college. And right now, I was clutching a pink love letter. 19-year-old Olivia stood before me. She looked up, her eyes filled with arrogance and disdain, as if telling me, what a pathetic doormat. Doesn't he own a mirror? How dare he think he's worthy of confessing to the campus belle? I finally remembered. This was the day, 2 years into my crush on Olivia, that I'd finally worked up the courage to confess. Why aren't you saying anything? She arched a perfect eyebrow. But her inner voice sounded off again. Ah, is he going to start crying? A man's tears are a woman's thrill. I can't wait to see him crushed and crying. Haha, weird. Why isn't he crying yet? A wild thought flashed through my mind, and I instantly bristled. Could be Olivia actually like me, too? She just acted cold on the outside, while feeling differently inside. Then all these years, my relentless pursuit, all my efforts, did she just see me as some kind of clown? Realizing this, I clenched my fists, my shoulders trembling uncontrollably. Seeing my reaction, Olivia's expression didn't change, but her inner voice started to panic. Huh? Something's wrong. Why does he look angry? Maybe I should say, I need to test him, string him along for a while. After all, what if he gets really mad and never comes near me again? She pouted slightly, as if making a difficult decision, and reluctantly held out a hand. Fine, I can take your letter, but that doesn't mean I accept your feelings. I need time to test you. Meeting her unwilling gaze, I couldn't help but let out a bitter laugh. Who said this love letter was for you? Her eyes flickered with confusion. The next second, I ripped the envelope in my hand to shreds. You're blocking the trash can, idiot. I pushed past her and tossed the scraps into the bin behind her. The air fell silent. I heard Olivia's breath catch. She actually ripped up the letter meant for me. In my peripheral vision, I saw her eyes turn red, tears welling up. A pang hit my heart, but I immediately suppressed the instinctive urge to feel sorry for her. Gritting my teeth, I quickened my pace and fled. In the university cafeteria, I sat there holding my fork, dazed for a long moment, finally processing the fact that I was back on campus, 8 years younger. And judging by Olivia's reaction, it seemed I was the only one who'd come back. Ethan, look, the campus confession page. An exclamation broke my thoughts. My roommate, sitting across from me, shoved his phone in my face. Someone had secretly taken photos. Olivia looked frantic. As cool as she'd been rejecting me, that's how flustered she looked now, actually digging through the trash can. The comments section was blowing up. Everyone was guessing what could possibly make UCLA's campus belle act so desperately. Only I noticed the flash of pink in one of the photos and scoffed. Tough girl act now. What was she doing earlier? Whatever Olivia cares about that much must be really important. Leo marveled at the screen. I mean, she's gorgeous, great body, comes from money. Her starting line in life is the finish line for ordinary folks like us. Anything that catches her eye and gets her this worked up has got to be special. I thought about all those years by Olivia's side. Besides my devoted heart, I didn't seem to have anything impressive to offer. Too bad a devoted heart is the cheapest thing there is. I laughed bitterly. Important or not, once it's in the trash, it's just trash. That's not true. A clear, girlish voice quickly retorted, and a hand grabbed my wrist. I instinctively looked up, meeting those large, almond-shaped eyes. The moment our eyes met, hers trembled violently, and she quickly let go of my hand. No, I touched the trash. I can't touch him, but I wash my hands so many times. Will he think I'm dirty? I was speechless. Can I help you with something? Olivia stared intently at me, the corners of her eyes starting to reen again. It's not trash. What? She mumbled, her lips barely moving. I couldn't hear what she said. Then she pulled out the love letter, now pieced together with tape. Look, I taped it back together. She finished speaking and looked at me expectantly. I raised an eyebrow. I tore the letter into tiny pieces. Restoring it like this must have been difficult. However, something I wrote for my dog. And you like it this much? My face hardened as I retorted sharply. Olivia paused. Then the next second, woof. I was utterly speechless. No way, Ethan. What's going on with you and Olivia? You ripped up her love letter. She dug it out of the trash and taped it back together. Does she like you too? Holy cow, dude. You're amazing. What kind of magic potion did you use to get the campus belle hooked like that? Spill the beans. As soon as I got back to the dorm, Leo was all over me, demanding answers. He looked like he'd uncovered some earth-shattering secret, his eyes practically glowing with excitement. But as he laughed, seeing my indifferent reaction, he paused. He placed a hand on my forehead, muttering, "What's wrong? You don't seem feverish. How come you're not happy at all?" I tilted my head and brushed his hand away. I don't have a fever. Leo was stunned by my calmness. After all, from the very first day of orientation, the moment I saw Olivia, I was smitten. First, it was my secret. Later, Leo noticed how my eyes practically overflowed with affection whenever I ran into Olivia, and he figured it out. From his perspective, finding out your crush likes you back is a dream come true, a mutual thing. But from my perspective, it was a heart I tried to warm for 9 years without success. Now, finding out she'd actually like me all along felt like a complete joke. I couldn't feel happy about it. So, I added, "It's just I don't want to like her anymore." "Wait, are you?" "Huh?" Leo was shocked again. I thought he'd press me for reasons. After all, I've been so crazy about Olivia before. Now, suddenly saying I didn't like her anymore, anyone would find it strange. But instead, he unexpectedly pulled 2 bar coupons from his pocket. Saturday's special, spend $30, get $5 off, plus 2 free craft beers. Want to go? Me, huh? He grinned, slinging an arm around my shoulder. Who cares about troubles and heartaches? A few drinks, and you'll forget everything. Guaranteed to work. Trust me, I couldn't help but burst out laughing. I took the coupons from Leo, ready to go to the bar. As soon as I pushed the door open, the pounding music hit me. Lights flashed and changed all around. Bodies swayed rhythmically on the dance floor, and the air hung thick with a mix of hedonism and flirtation. Olivia loved places like this, always dressing provocatively. I'd get jealous and beg her to take me with her, but she'd always refuse coldly. She'd call me petty and unreasonable. So I decided to go by myself, but every time she'd catch me on the way and demand I go back home and behave, threatening divorce otherwise. But why could she go out and have fun while I had to stay home alone? Talk about double standards. Damn it all. Remembering all that, I got angrier and angrier. Bang! I slammed my glass down on the table, my head already spinning slightly. Hey, handsome. Just got dumped. A sweet voice sounded near my ear. I turned my head to see the speaker sliding into the seat next to me. Forget that toxic girl. Let her rot. A guy as good-looking as he deserves better. With that, she propped her chin on her hand and smiled gently at me. She had that sweet, innocent look, captivating at first glance. And that mouth, wow, like it was coated in honey. Every word out of her mouth was designed to charm. Leo kept nudging me with his elbow, giving me meaningful looks. This one's good. This one's good. Much easier on the eyes than Olivia's ice queen face. What's that saying? Plenty of fish in the sea. I was about to respond when I caught sight of something in the distance. Olivia, her face dark, was storming straight towards me. I froze. Wait. My buzz vanished instantly. By the time she stopped in front of me, the temperature around us seemed to drop. One glare from her sent the girl next to me scrambling away. Hey, you forgot your drink. But before I could finish, she was gone. What? Still hung up on her? Olivia asked, flashing a rare smile. But that smile looked terrifying, like the calm before a storm. She gritted her teeth. Still looking like what you see that much. Want me to go drag her back for you before she gets too far? No need to trouble yourself. Seeing Olivia this furious for the first time, I instinctively shrank back. I shot Leo a desperate look for help. He immediately groaned. Ooh, I feel dizzy. I think I drank too much. Then he dramatically collapsed onto the table. I stared. I called your sister. She's outside to pick you up, Olivia said. The words were barely out of her mouth when Leo sprang up from the table. All right, thanks. See you. My jaw dropped. Seriously, I was dumbfounded. The next second, a sharp pain shot through my earlobe as Olivia grabbed it. Ouch. Pain, you're coming with me. Olivia dragged me out by the ear. Let go. Let go. What are you doing? I tried to pull free, but she suddenly spun around and bit my lip hard. Behave. My face flushed instantly, the faint scent of her lingering on my lips. Olivia dragged me through the noisy crowd. I kept my head down, afraid to look around and attract attention. Once outside the bar, she shoved me into the passenger seat. Her petite frame was right in front of me, those almond eyes glaring daggers. The next second, she leaned towards me and my heart skipped a beat. What are you doing? I flinched back, wary. But seeing me avoid her seemed to make her even angrier. Ethan, you've really grown some nerve. You used to get drunk after one drink. Now you can handle several. And you've learned to hit on other girls, haven't you? Used to? My pupils dilated. Could the Olivia in front of me also be the one from 8 years in the future? Who are you to tell me what to do? I yelled angrily. She suddenly raised her hand. My heart tightened. Was she going to hit me out of anger and embarrassment? Click. With a sharp click, Olivia fastened my seatbelt. Before I could even react, she slammed the accelerator. I couldn't exactly jump out of a moving car. Couldn't run. Couldn't escape. The entire ride, my heart was pounding. She drove straight to the apartment she owned near campus. We just stepped inside, the lights still off, when she pinned me against the entryway wall. You really don't like me anymore? Her seemingly calm voice held suppressed anger, sounding like an accusation. But in the soft moonlight filtering through the floor-to-ceiling windows, her face held a hint of hurt. I found it laughable. She was the one who played with my feelings. Why did she have to look hurt? Yes, I stopped liking you a long time ago. I took a deep breath and gave a cold smile. Olivia gripped my wrist tighter, pressing further. Then who do you like? That girl from the bar. That's right. I lowered my gaze to meet hers. I don't just like her. I like lots of people. Basically, I could like anyone but you. Did you hear me? She suddenly stood on tiptoe and bit my lip again, forcefully wincing in pain. I shoved her away. I didn't hear you. Say it again if you dare. She bit her lip, looking wronged, tears clinging to her eyelashes, threatening to fall. I looked away, not wanting to see her like this. Don't think this will make me feel sorry for you. I sighed softly. Olivia, that trick doesn't work on me anymore. As soon as the words left my mouth, her tears started falling drop after drop. I remained silent, which only made her cry harder. She grabbed the corner of my shirt, looking up at me timidly. Are you really angry? You can yell at me all you want. Just please don't ignore me. Don't be so cold. Cold? Huh. I thought about how I used to cherish her. While she enjoyed my affection, she watched me like a fool dancing to her tune. Now that I didn't want anything to do with her, she was suddenly clinging to me. People like her are truly strange. Seeing my continued silence, she looked down, crestfallen, practically leaning against me. Ethan, please talk to me. I really know I was wrong. She took my hands, pressing them against her cheek, rubbing gently, trying to coax me, but all I felt was disgust. I quickly pulled my hands away. I didn't want to touch her for a second longer. Like that ripped-up love letter, I said coldly, mockingly. It's broken. No matter how carefully you try to piece it back together, it'll never be the same as it was. Affection shown too late is worthless. But then she pulled an intact love letter from her pocket. She handed it to me, her gaze even more cautious. I wrote a new one. See, it's perfect now. This time, I was genuinely rendered speechless by anger. Is this fun for you? I almost wanted to laugh. What makes you think I can't live without you? You only enjoyed the chase. Whenever I was about to give up, you'd selectively show me a little affection. What do you take me for? Panic flickered in Olivia's eyes. I didn't you? I cut her off. You rejected my confession outwardly, but inwardly, you were thinking about making me cry. What do you mean you didn't? She froze. My smile turned even colder, watching her squirm after her lies were exposed. But the hurt on Olivia's face deepened. But isn't loving someone supposed to make them cry? I stared, confused. I was baffled, completely lost. Seeing my confusion, she pressed her lips together, not speaking. Instead, she turned on the living room lights, took my hand, and led me towards another room. Hold on. She stepped onto a small stool and took down a thick photo album from the highest shelf. Dusting it off, she opened a door to long-buried memories. When you love someone, you naturally want to know everything about them. But in these 9 years, she never mentioned her parents. From dating to marriage, I never even met them. Any attempts to ask around yielded nothing. Olivia refused to talk about it, and after hitting dead ends multiple times, I had to drop it. Now, the questions that had lingered in my heart for years might finally be answered. This is my mother. She pointed to a woman in a photo. The background was a park, and she was holding a 2- or 3-year-old Olivia. She was beautiful, elegant, and graceful. Her smile was incredibly gentle, her eyes sparkling. But as we flipped further through the album, her smiles faded, the light in her eyes gone. My father was supposed to be here. She pointed to a blank space in another photo. If I guessed correctly, it should have been a family portrait, but it had been cut up. Other photos, like it, even had burn marks. Seeing them startled me. My mother loved my father very much, but he always made her cry. Back then, Olivia was too young, just learning to talk, understanding nothing. But she could sense her mother's sadness. So, she asked why her mother was always crying. Her mother held her, crying even harder, but answered that it was all because of love. Loving someone brings tears of joy, but also tears of pain. In the end, her mother's tears couldn't keep him. They separated. They each started new lives, built new families, and Olivia became the obstacle, the stain between them. They gave her lots and lots of money, but never again lots and lots of love. Yet in the very beginning, she had been their precious treasure, their one and only little princess held dearly in their hands. Some people spend their entire lives trying to heal childhood wounds. Olivia seemed accustomed to being alone, independent, yet she constantly craved love. But while craving love, she didn't trust she could truly receive it. So she tested people again and again, pushing them away and pulling them back, searching for security in that chaotic dance. You said before that you fell for me the first moment you saw me during orientation. She looked up at me, her eyes shimmering, but you didn't know. In that same moment, I fell for you too. A section of the bookshelf slowly slid open. When the contents were fully revealed, I stood frozen in shock. It was a huge butterfly wall. The visual impact was stunning. Looking closer, I realized it was made entirely of photos. I stepped forward and was even more surprised to see myself in almost every single one. This was the first time we met. I secretly took it when you weren't looking. Olivia stood beside me, pointing to the topmost photo. A buried memory suddenly surfaced. It was the first day of orientation. I was hauling 8 bags and dragging 2 huge suitcases, struggling the whole way. Truthfully, only one suitcase was mine. The rest belonged to Leo. He dashed off to the restroom, unable to wait another second. Trying to be helpful, I thought I'd bring his luggage along, too. But when I saw the sheer amount of stuff he'd brought, I was stunned. It wasn't luggage. It looked like he'd moved his entire house. Even thinking back now, I still feel like he totally screwed me over that day. I happened to glance over and see you then. I was stunned. You looked so pitiful, yet kind of hilarious. A smile played on Olivia's lips as she seemed lost in a fond memory. Meanwhile, I wished the ground would swallow me whole. I had actually started walking over to ask if you needed help. And then I asked, confused. I had no memory of this at all. I never knew Olivia had noticed me before I noticed her. You were carrying too many bags on your shoulders and didn't see me. The suitcase rolled near my foot. Olivia paused for a moment before continuing, and then you pushed hard and rolled right over it. I winced. Now that part sounded vaguely familiar. At the time, I thought the wool got stuck on a rock or something. I didn't bother moving it, just forced it forward. Turns out, I ran over her foot. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I really didn't notice. I felt even more awkward and quickly apologized. In this one, Olivia pointed to the photo next to it. In the picture, I was alone holding 3 ice cream cones. I thought you bought them for friends, but I followed you for a bit, and you ate all 3 yourself. As she spoke, a faint look of envy appeared in Olivia's eyes. She sighed softly. Such an impressive appetite. You really packed it away. I was speechless. Seriously, I put my head in my hands, feeling faint. Most girls go for guys with charisma and sex appeal. Why was she so different? And this one? Okay, stop. Please, that's enough. Any more of this, and I might actually die of embarrassment. She was digging up all my most embarrassing moments. Besides, I confessed to you first. Hearing this, my brain short-circuited again. When did that happen? I racked my brain, but came up blank. Seeing my clueless expression, Olivia took out her phone and opened her social media feed. The day before I gave her the love letter, she had posted a photo with the caption, "Same sky." I frowned. So what does that mean? I took this near the university research park. It was right around the time your class ended. If you looked up, you have seen the same sky. So, the meaning is we saw the same sky together. Isn't that a romantic confession? Olivia looked at me eagerly, like a child waiting for praise. Once again, I was silent. Seriously, girl, there's no way I couldn't have figured that out with a microscope. But you liked that post back then. I thought you understood. Hey, my mouth twitched. I'd never been so utterly speechless in my life. And I wasn't cold to you. Olivia swallowed, trying to clear the dryness in her throat, and explained patiently. I knew all your preferences, what you liked, what you didn't, and lots of your little habits, like how you buy a new game skin to reward yourself when you're happy, and an even more expensive one to comfort yourself when you're down. And later, things like decorating our apartment, the wedding. At the time, she said whatever, but it wasn't because she didn't care like I thought. It was because she'd already hired professionals and instructed them to arrange everything according to my tastes, so we wouldn't have to worry. But back then, I didn't know any of this. I was just naively thrilled that their proposals perfectly matched my aesthetic. I suspected Olivia might have told them something, but her indifferent act threw me off. I ended up thinking I was just overthinking and being self-important. So, why didn't you say anything? She knew everything about me, and I longed to know everything about her, but she kept herself locked up tight, giving me no chance. Even after 9 years, I couldn't make a single crack in her defenses. It wasn't fair at all. Of course, I thought she didn't love me, didn't care about me, because I wanted to show you only my best side. I was afraid the more you knew me, the more disappointed you'd be, and then you wouldn't like me anymore. Olivia lowered her head, looking dejected. She was afraid that if I truly knew her, I'd be disappointed, and then I, too, would abandon her. She always felt she wasn't good enough. That's why her parents had abandoned her without hesitation. If only she had been an outstanding, brilliant child. If only she could have made them proud. If only, maybe they would have cared about her a little more. But that was their problem. You did nothing wrong. You don't need to do anything to please them. And you certainly don't need to blame yourself or feel inadequate, I said urgently. Her eyes misted over. Meeting me, she said, was like a dead tree finding spring. And someone who has once basked in light can never truly return to the darkness. I reached out and cupped her face, looking in her eyes, saying word by word. But when you truly love someone, you love everything about them. You love their brightness, and you love their broken pieces, too. Loving only the surface stuff isn't love. It's probably just fleeting infatuation. Sadly, I understood too late, learned too slowly, and hurt you for so long. Olivia gave a faint, bittersweet smile. Because it wasn't until later that I realized loving someone means cherishing their tears, not wanting them to feel any negativity. She reached up, her fingertips gently tracing the threads woven across the butterfly wall. She had woven each one by hand, like building a cage specifically to trap this butterfly. If she could, she would have wanted me by her side forever. But if being close to her meant being close to sadness, she would rather cut the threads herself and let me go. It seemed like she wanted to trap me, but in reality, she was always trapping herself. The night before I gave her the divorce papers, she wished on a shooting star because she had noticed I didn't seem happy these past years, and I seemed completely unaware of her hidden love. She knew it was all her fault, so she wished on the star, asking if she could go back in time. Give me a chance to choose again, even if it meant losing me completely. Ethan, she called my name softly, her gaze full of deep emotion. I've told you everything about me now. So, can you still like me? Like the flawed person I am. My thoughts were a mess. The feelings were real. After all those years, you can't just switch off love or cut ties instantly. But the past hurt was also real and undeniable. I'm sorry. I lower my eyes, my lashes trembling. I don't know. At least right now, I couldn't give her the answer she wanted. My answer might have been what she expected. It's okay. She smiled faintly, a rare gentleness in her expression. We can take it slow. Time will tell. At least after clearing the air, we had a new, better understanding of each other. Olivia was no longer so guarded about her feelings. She finally learned to express herself openly, to acknowledge her own emotions and needs. She even started actively sharing the good things she encountered, though she also became much more delicate than before. On the athletic field, she tripped and fell. One second, she was laughing with her friends, saying she wasn't hurt. It didn't sting at all. The next second, seeing me approach, her face crumpled into a tearful pout. Baby's hurt. Kiss it better. I raised an eyebrow. She used to hate sweets. But now, when we went out, she surprisingly bought 2 cups of boba tea, one for each of us. It suddenly reminded me of our first date after we officially got together back then. I'd excitedly bought 2 taro boba teas, thinking girls usually like that kind. It was a new flavor. It tasted great. I waited in line forever, eager to give one to her. But back then, Olivia drank it with a constant frown, telling me next time just to buy one for myself. I felt so dejected. Seeing her reaction, I couldn't tell if she hated the drink or hated me. I tried to comfort myself by thinking maybe she was dieting, watching her figure, avoiding sweets. It was too sweet back then. I wasn't used to it. This time, Olivia finally explained. When she was little, she actually loved sweets, too. but she got cavities and suffered terrible toothaches, holding her cheek in agony. No one cared for her. Her parents divorced and just left her in a big house with a nanny. When a nanny's shift ended, she was alone, not knowing what to do. Finally, the pain became unbearable, and she used the landline to call an ambulance. She was so small, then utterly terrified. So after that, she never dared to eat sweets again. Seeing how down you looked that day, I realized I must have said the wrong thing. But I didn't mean it the way you thought, Olivia explained awkwardly, gesturing frantically with her hands as if afraid I wouldn't understand. Watching her, I found it both childish and amusing. She doubled down on her explanation. Really? Believe me? Okay, I believe you. After spending these past few weeks getting reacquainted, I could see that her tendency to say the opposite of what she felt often wasn't intentional. Her heart felt one way, but the words came out twisted. It was strange. Actually, after I went back that day, I ordered the same drink again for myself. Slowly, she started to accept it. Eating sweets wasn't the terrifying experience her childhood had made it seem. On the contrary, sweetness could actually lift one's mood. She started imitating my preferences, learning things no one had ever taught her like a clumsy child, mimicking others, exploring, and trying bit by bit. It took me 9 years to teach her how to love, and my own feelings showed her that everyone deserves to be loved. But the prerequisite for being loved is learning to love yourself first. And slowly she learned. For the remaining 3 years of college, we focused on ourselves. We chatted normally day to day. In our free time, we'd stroll around the track together, watching the sunset paint the sky red, enjoying the evening breeze, walking at a relaxed pace, talking about the past, discussing the future until graduation day. At the ceremony, she publicly confessed her feelings to me. The crowd below erupted in cheers. Standing on stage, she held a bouquet of my favorite flowers, sunflowers. Her gaze was intense, full of unwavering affection. Sunflowers symbolize loyalty and silent love. Ethan, she spoke softly, asking the same question as that day in her apartment. So, can you still like me? I looked at her face and broke into a radiant smile. Only this time, my answer was yes. The moment the word left my lips, the sun broke through the clouds, bathing everything in light. The sunflowers in her hands seemed gilded, shining with a warm, dazzling brilliance. And so began our brand new future together.